Welcome, Flames Nation, to my preview for the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl featuring 8-4 Liberty versus 8-5 Toledo. I'm very excited for this bowl game matchup because it's giving me an opportunity to today take off my Bronco Blameyer hat and put on my Mr. Exclamation Point hat. As everybody knows, massive Boise State fan. Obviously, that's what the channel is dedicated to, but also a massive on this same level Liberty Flames fans. Both those teams equal level in my heart. Massive fan of both programs. So Mr. Exclamation Point for my Liberty fandom, Bronco Blameyer for my Boise State. And I love it when the two come together and I have an opportunity to be able to talk about my Liberty Flames on this channel. That's exactly what we're going to do today. So we're going to take a pause from talking about the normal Boise State and Mountain West and general college football, and we're going to take a look at the Liberty Flames here as they get ready to take on 8-5 Toledo, MAC champions. It's a big bowl game for the Liberty Flames. The last year of independence, 5th year in the FBS, playing in their 4th bowl game overall. A chance to go 4-0 in bowl season with the best record overall, best start to an FBS career that any program has ever done, and getting this 4th win in a row would be a massive thing for this Liberty Flames program. They got a lot of challenges. Hugh Freeze, obviously gone over to Auburn, but they do have interim coach Aldridge, who has done a great job with this defense. So we'll have to see if they can take on, like we said, a conference champion in the Toledo Rockets here. This game's going to be Tuesday, December 20th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 50.1% chance of winning, according to ESPN, for Liberty. However, Vegas is giving the nod to Toledo, a 5-point favorite, according to Vegas, giving the nod to the Toledo Rockets. So, serious history between these two teams. Well, they've met 3 times before. Not recently, but they have met before. 1994, first game in the series, 34-47 win there by Toledo. And then the last time these two teams played was in 2007. Very close game. A 35-34 win there by Toledo. Very close game, and one that hopefully Liberty will be able to come in and get a little bit of recompense for. So we're going to look today at key players. We'll look at 2 key players for both of these programs. We'll look at 2 keys to the game for both Liberty and for Toledo, and then we'll do a game summary. If you'd like a more in-depth look at these Liberty Flames, make sure you go to Mr. The Point, or The Point, but Mr. The Point is the website banner that we use. But make sure you go to The Point or MrThePoint.com and take a look at the game article that I wrote that does a very in-depth preview of this game and goes much more in-depth to the keys to the game than what I'm going to present in today's video. Make sure you go read that. Also, score prediction attached. All right, so key players for this matchup. Like I said, 2 key players for both of these teams. Starting off with LU. Well, for Liberty, it's got to be wide receiver Demario Douglas. He's really kind of carried this team, especially after Day Hunter has gone out. Now, he is really the best player on this team. I would have said Day Hunter was the best beforehand, and I think his rushing record showed that he was having an amazing season. Unfortunately, out for the year with injury now. Now it comes down to Demario Douglas. Now, despite a little bit, and we'll talk about it later, murky quarterback situation here for Liberty. 4 different quarterbacks getting playing time throughout the season due to injury and then decisions by Hugh Freeze, but mostly due to injury. They have had to lean on their star here, on Demario Douglas. He has been the consistent figure for this passing game, no matter who has been in. He has racked up 977 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns, only a sophomore by year total overall, at least with the COVID year exemption as well. So a lot of playing time left for Demario Douglas. Smaller guy, 5'8", 170 pounds, a little bit more of a slot build, but they use him in the deep passing game as well. He can get it done all over the field. They throw him in the screen game, they throw him in the mid-range, they throw him on the deep ball, they use him all over the field, and he has definitely earned those targets, has 500 more receptions than the next leading wide receiver on this roster. So he's going to be a big player here for Liberty. Now, the second player, we're going to look at the defense. Darrell Johnson, defensive end here. Massive guy. Not small at all, like Demario Douglas. 6'3", 240 pounds. He's racked up 50 sacks, but he leads the team with 8 sacks. It's been a good team after getting after the quarterback this year. 41 sacks overall for the team, but 8 sacks overall leading the team there for Darrell Johnson. Now, he's not just a big guy who can go down and get the quarterback. This guy also has 4 passes defended. I mean, when's the last time you saw a defensive end with passes defended? That's incredible. 4 passes defended, interception, 1 forced fumble, and 3 fumble recoveries for this team. He's definitely the star here, I think, on this defensive side, especially when you talk about a team that is needing to make sure they shut down a running game from Toledo that has a mobile quarterback, and that leads us straight into the key players here for Toledo. Their top quarterback, or their top player, is going to be their quarterback here, DeQuan Finn. 2,127 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Liberty's been very good at forcing turnovers this year. That's something they can lean on. But he's also been mobile and a threat on the ground. 608 yards rushing, 5.4 yards average, and 8 touchdowns on the ground in the MAC championship game. Now remember, he was coming back off of an injury, an ankle injury, and so they thought he wouldn't be 100%, and he still might not be what you would call 100%, but he certainly looked like he was back to his original self. 86 yards rushing, which was tied, well, just one under his season long, which was 87 on the season. So he definitely looked back to his old self there in the MAC championship game. He's going to be somebody Liberty's going to have to contend with. They have faced some mobile quarterbacks already. We'll talk about that later in the summary, but this is definitely someone who's going to have a major impact on the field here for the Toledo Rockets. Looking at the defense again, so we've looked at an offensive player for Liberty, offensive player for Toledo. Now we've looked at defensive player for Liberty, defensive player for Toledo, and I did want to just give one, but you can't give one on this Toledo team because you have two linebackers here that are basically the same person, both of them over 100 tackles on the season. Between the two of them, between Dallas Gant and Deontay Johnson, they've had 214 tackles, 3 sacks, 8 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. Like I said, both of them up over 100 tackles on this year. These are 2 stalwart members of this defense, definitely utility players that are going to make plays all over the field here and make it hard for Liberty whether they go in the running game or the short passing game. So keys to the game here for Liberty. Well, number one, it's going to be stick to one quarterback. Liberty's got 4 great quarterbacks to choose from. They really do. I mean, you've got Bennett, who's kind of been the starter. He's been the healthiest quarterback all season long. He hasn't necessarily been the flashiest, but he has gotten Liberty their most exciting wins. He's been reliable for the most part, and he has been the starter for Liberty for most of the season. The second guy is going to be Salter, someone who got injured about halfway through the year or just into that first third of the season, but he is an exciting prospect, former 4-star transfer over from Tennessee, a mobile quarterback. He's got an exciting arm. I like to call him Malik Willis 2.0. He hasn't looked exactly the same since coming back from the injury, a groin injury. He hasn't looked exactly the same, and I think that is just kind of being rusty and trying to get back into the passing game, especially when Bennett is taking a lot of those first-team reps. But he is an exciting prospect. Then you've got Brewer, of course, the transfer over from Baylor, the Power 5 quarterback with starting experience, who's been part of a Big 12 champion run. He has come in at Liberty, and he has been injured for most of the season. Came in late, got better. Still hasn't played his best because, again, starting rusty there towards the end. And then you've got Nate Hampton, not a guy who's going to be competing necessarily for starting reps, but has come on and actually finished some games here for Liberty. I'm not just talking about garbage time. He's gone out and won some games when Bennett struggled, when other quarterbacks here have not been playing necessarily to their best. He has come on and he has finished some games here for Liberty, and they like to use him in a couple of packages. So all 4 of these guys have potential, but you have to focus on one. The biggest disaster for Hugh Freeze, who is a great offensive mind, one of the best coaches, the best coach in Liberty football history, bar none, and I think he's going to remain that way for a long time. His biggest flaw was the fact that he couldn't settle on one player. We saw that in the running game the last few years for Liberty, and now it has bled into the passing game, and that has been what I think has been directly responsible for the last 3 losses here for Liberty, is the constant rotation of quarterback, not giving a quarterback a chance to settle into the game, learn from his mistakes, and move forward. So whoever Aldridge has already said that we might see all 4 quarterbacks. I sincerely hope that is not the case, unless it's in sort of a one-time package situation. So maybe Bennett, I'm just theorizing here, maybe Bennett gets a start, and then you throw out Salter on a short yardage type situation. That's okay. But if you're just constantly rotating quarterbacks, if you're giving quarterbacks drives, that is going to be negatively impacting on the offense like it has been all season. Second key here for Liberty is going to be lean on the run. They've had, like I said, a murky quarterback situation. Has been a lot of guys in and out. So Liberty's going to need to lean on the run here. They have an interim coach, like I said, with Aldridge taking over the reins. So it's always hard when you have a interim coach coming in, especially in this case because Freeze was the main offensive play caller here for Liberty, and now he's gone. So you have a defensive-minded coach, a defensive coordinator here in Aldridge, having to take over the reins of a team that's relied on the head coach to call the offense. You're going to want to rely on the run. Those plays are a lot easier to call than the passing game. Let the running game get you into this game, give you momentum, and allow the offense to feed off of what the running game is able to do. Also, Toledo is a little weaker against the run. They're 68th overall against the run, 154.9 yards rushing per game given up in the season. And offensively, versus the passing game, they're a lot better. 21st in the nation, giving up 195.3 yards per game in the passing game. So definitely some opportunities, more opportunities in the rushing game. And Liberty's got two great backs in Lewis and Green that they can lean on. Maybe you don't have Day Hunter, but you still have two capable backs here for this offense. For Toledo, the number one key, don't allow the quarterback scramble. That's kind of how Liberty's got their main and most effective rushing yards, especially here late in the season. They've been leading on that quarterback rush. If Salter gets a start, he is going to be kind of a run-first kind of guy. If you can take away his legs, he's going to be much less effective on this offense. It's going to be a way that a lot of these quarterbacks gain momentum and gain confidence. Take that away. It's going to be a lot harder for them to get in rhythm with this offense, especially when you don't have Day Hunter out there to be a reliable running back for you. You still have two good running backs, but not two premier next-level running backs like Day Hunter. So take away the quarterback run, you're going to severely limit Liberty's offensive potential. And the number two key here is take away Demario Douglas. He, like I said, has been the number one target. That was 977 yards, receiving 500 plus more than any other wide receiver. It takes a quarterback who is consistent and into the flow of the game to be able to find the other Liberty quarterbacks. When Bennett is playing at his best, he's been able to do that. So if you take away Demario Douglas, you take away that ability for the quarterback here, whoever it is, to get with their most consistent wide receiver, to get themselves into the flow of the game. You take him away, they're not going to be able to be as effective finding other wide receivers. Liberty does have some good other wide receivers here in Frith, Yarborough, Sibley, and Snead to name some of the top guys here behind Demario Douglas. But Snead has been limited by injury. Yarborough hasn't looked as good as he did coming back after taking a year off. He's still seeming to get back into the flow of the game. And then Frith and Sibley just haven't necessarily been on the same phase with the quarterback or whoever has been out there, primarily Bennett, this whole season. So if Toledo can shut down Demario Douglas, it's going to be a much more likely probability that Liberty will not be able to get this offensive passing game quite in the same phase as it would otherwise. And I think it will take away in the end the opportunities to go to some other guys where the quarterback won't be in the same passing rhythm. All right, summarizing this game overall, well, Toledo's averaging 32.1 points per game. This is a MAC team. They're going up against MAC teams, so consider that as you would. But they are averaging 32.1 points per game and at 405.8 yards per game overall. They also have a good mobile quarterback and capable running backs. They haven't put up 1,000-plus yards, and their main running back is 600, mid-600 range. But he is averaging 5.9 yards average per carry. But LU has beaten better teams than this. They have. I mean, they've beaten quarterbacks that were better than this, mobile quarterbacks. They beat Jaron Hall from BYU, and they beat KJ Jefferson, who is one of the best mobile quarterbacks that Liberty has ever faced, and they shut him down. So the question is then, which Liberty comes to play? That is going to determine my score prediction. If you want that score prediction, you're going to have to go to MrThePoint.com to read that article and get that score prediction off there. Ha! Got you there at the end. But seriously, it's a free website. Go and read that article. It won't take you more than 5 minutes. And if you skim right to the end, you'll get that score prediction right there. But it's a great site for covering Liberty athletics, not just football. Basketball season is heating up. We're covering the basketball games regularly, so make sure you check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you want, like and subscribe. Bronco Blameyer as well. This is more for me, just to have an opportunity to talk about my Liberty Flames, because I love getting to talk about them. And I rarely do so often on this channel. Get that opportunity. So I wanted to take advantage here with the bowl game to talk about the Liberty Flames. So make sure you like and subscribe. It is a heavy dose of Boise State content as always, but I do talk, and Mountain West, but I do talk in general about college football news. I've done several videos talking about Liberty's move to Conference USA, and I will continue to cover that. I'll also be doing a Liberty preseason video like I usually do as well. So make sure you join and follow all of that. And of course, make sure you follow The Point or MrThePoint.com. I'll throw that link to that in the description. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and as always, I'll end this with 2 here. I'll say, go Flames and go Big Blue.